Hey, how's it going? It's Lea here. Thank you so much for coming. Today we're talking about something that's like not the most fun topic, right? But the fun part is that there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is healing. There's hope for you, for realsies. So if you have suffered from any kind of abuse, first of all, I'm so sorry because you do not deserve that. Nobody does. And second of all, if you are, actually this should be the first of all, if you are in an abusive situation right now, please seek help. If you could watch this video, you can make a phone call. So you need to call somebody and get out. If you're being hit, anything like that, you need to get out. There's no recovery inside of a situation like that. So what we're talking about today is once you've escaped a situation, or it's post-breakup, or it's healing from childhood trauma, or it's healing from a prior abusive situation, but you're not currently in it. Because first and foremost is your safety. So if you're not in a safe situation, please get help. That's the most important thing. But now if you've already gotten out of the unsafe, toxic situation, but you don't know how to move forward. Because often people will go back to their abusers because that's more comfortable. Or they'll recreate the same abuse in a new person, or they'll seek out people who treat them that way. Because it's oddly more comfortable than something healthy. So the reason I really wanted to do this meditation today is to help you so that you don't recreate it and you don't pass it on. Because love did not create that abuse. So when we end up passing it on, then we just keep recreating it. And even the most highly abusive people are not doing those things out of love. So that's why we have to return to love, no matter what the type of abuse it is. But first we need to return to the love for ourselves. So often when you've been in an abusive situation, what happens through the abuse is that the person begins to take that on. So you might be able to start taking on, like, I am this person that they're saying that I am because they've hit me over the head with it so much. So then maybe you begin to start to believe it. Or they're a narcissist and they gaslight you into believing that you're crazy, that your reality isn't the actual reality. And those things are also dangerous because what happens is you begin to not trust your instincts. So that's why we have to come back into our own frame. A big reason I wanted to do this talk and meditation today is because I received a lovely comment from a new subscriber, and thank you so much to all of you who are subscribing and liking and commenting and sharing. It helps a ton. And also thank you for commenting and contributing, because that way I can help. And it can actually be a give and take here, because that's what this is supposed to be. So the comment was about something I had said in another meditation regarding giving your gifts and talents generously and bravely and openly. And she said, well, I don't really want to, or I don't want to at all, because I've been abused. And I can resonate with that so much. So your abuse may be, on the scale of things, I don't want to even say big or small, because abuse is abuse. And that's where we begin to go, oh, well, it was just verbal. It's not like they were hitting me. And you begin to make excuses for the abuse. But in your mind's eye, as big or small as it is abuse. Whether somebody verbally abused you or hit you, it's abuse. Where they try to gaslight you and tell you that your perspective is not real, or whether they actually physically assaulted you. Abuse is abuse. So forgive yourself for even thinking that you're trying to discredit yourself, like, oh, that's not enough abuse. I wasn't hit over the head with a frying pan. Abuse is abuse. So forgive yourself first for even taking on any of it as if it was supposed to be yours, because it wasn't. Nobody deserves that. So forgive yourself for ever thinking for a moment that any of it was okay. So I grew up in the 80s, to age myself a little bit, to 80s myself. And in the 80s, the philosophy was like, rub dirt on it. Your emotions or anything. Like, we don't talk about it. We just rub dirt on it and move along. Have a soda, keep it moving. So my dad, trying to be the provider and do all the things for the family and all that stuff, he wasn't around, like, at all. But there was no conversation about it. So I just didn't understand. So when I would compare myself to other families who did have a dad present, I thought, well, I have a dad, he's just not there. So maybe it's just me. Maybe he doesn't like me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm annoying. Maybe I'm stressing him out. Maybe I'm not. So then I began to adopt this thing that I thought I'm not good enough. So while that abuse, and I hate to say abuse even, but it's abusive when you neglect a kid like that and you don't talk to them. So, see, and that scares me because I'm like, I don't even want to say that. He doesn't watch any of my videos, but this will be the one that he watches. Then he's like, I didn't. And then I jump into my people pleasing, like, oh, it's fine. But it's like, the bottom line is, when you're not there for a kid, they feel that. And then when there's no conversation around why you're not there, they take it on. So whatever that is, and maybe you have that. So I've had to, and it's like a little throw up in the mouthy, because I'm like, oh God, like, gross. I don't want to be like, oh, so I have abandonment issues. Don't leave me. It's like so attractive. No, but what happened is that I began to overperform. I overperformed for my friends and my family, and it probably came off kind of annoying, to be honest. I mean, I'm annoying even when I'm in my alignment, I'm sure, to some people, and that's fine. But I mean, when I wasn't in alignment with my truth and I was just trying to please people, or what I thought would please them, because I thought I wasn't worthy if I just did what I wanted to do. So I would always overcompensate by doing things I didn't want to do because somebody else wanted to do it, or denying my feelings, or allowing myself to be, a gaslight. I drew in a bunch of narcissists in my life through business and personal relationships and all sorts of things because of that people pleaser mentality. So I had to keep recreating this trauma until I finally said, no, what I want matters. Otherwise, I'm going to keep pulling in people who are taking advantage of me. And sometimes it's even scary in sharing like what you've been through, because sometimes you share some traumatic experience or abuse you've been through, and to an abuser, they're like, oh, perfect, sign her up. I'm going to give her some of that, a dose of that. And you're like, I don't want any of that. They're like, sure you do. You told me you have this whole past and that's your thing. And then they'll gaslight you and say, oh, that's your thing. Then you're like, that's not my thing. I don't want. So that's why I also say, be very careful who you share with. Very careful. Your dreams or your traumas. Be careful. Because there are people who try to use it against you. But if you do on accident do that, again, have forgiveness for yourself, because it happens. Have forgiveness, can talk after that drink of water, for yourself, for recreating that trauma. But let's not pass it on. We can stop it right now. So that's why I try my best to be more available for my daughter, even though I'm a double parent. It's really tricky sometimes because there's one of me and I have to do a lot of different things. But where I can, I really try to carve it out, because I get that if I'm constantly, hold on, in a minute, she's going to be 18 years old, and I'm going to, in a minute, her whole childhood. So don't do that to yourself. Don't, in a minute, I'll heal, in a minute later, blah, blah, because you'll keep recreating it. And that's what I did. I was like, oh, that's so gross. Ew, abandonment, blah. I'm good. I'm not sensitive. Just rub dirt on it. Let's keep moving. I didn't want to uncover that stuff because it doesn't feel good. But that's the way that you do that to yourself, like in a minute, and then you postpone the healing. By doing that, you're actually ripping the Band-Aid off every time. You're making it worse. So then I finally had to dive in, and I even talked to my dad about it and all that stuff, because I want to heal. So I'm not going to change him, and I'm not going to recreate my childhood, but I'm going to give to myself now. And as uncomfortable as that is at times, because of so much of my life has been programmed that other people are more important, that it's a retraining. So there's growing pains there for me. But now I'm realizing that the more that I give to myself, the more I have to give. So please forgive yourself. And you can stop the pattern now by just checking in with, where are you? What do you want? How do you feel? Your opinion matters. And give yourself first the things that you need before you give out anything. So to answer that question about giving out your gifts and talents, then you can give your gifts and talents. Because the thing is, when you hoard them and you restrict them, you're actually not hurting anybody. You're hurting yourself. And you're depriving yourself. But I understand the instinct to not want to, especially if you've been highly criticized. But allow it to make you more resilient, instead of shutting you down. I've been highly criticized too, by a lot of different people. But I use it to go, well, do I believe in, is it bothering me because I agree with that statement? And if it is, then I'm going to adjust. And if it isn't, then I'm going to leave it. But I'm going to be in my frame, so that I can then give my gifts and talents. Because the same thing happens in love. People do that all the time in relationships. Well, this person abused me, so now I'm going to shut off love. Never going to do that again. So then somebody cool comes in that actually wants to support you and love you, and you push them out because you're like, nope, never going to do that again. But what you're actually signing up for is more trauma, and you're recycling that old pattern instead of opening up to a new possibility. You just shut it off. And then you hurt yourself and that opportunity, that person. And then you probably will be attracted to the same type of people who are going to be abusive to you. So if you've been abused, have some forgiveness. Big time for yourself. You didn't do anything wrong. You did not deserve that. And your perspective does matter. Sometimes it's hard to make the simplest of decisions after you've been abused. You're like, I don't know, what does everybody else want? I was in that for so long. Everyone would make fun of me for being so indecisive, because I just was so concerned about what everybody else wanted. I wanted everyone to be happy, because if everyone could be happy, then I could manage myself. Or adjust. But that's not true, because people just suck that energy out. And the people that take advantage of that type of energy will really take advantage and manipulate you. So it sucks when your good nature has been taken advantage of, but you can make it and use it to be more resilient. I've also, empaths, you hear that word a lot nowadays, are born out of a lot of times very abusive situations. You become highly sensitive to other people's needs, so then you become empathic. I was highly sensitive to other people's needs, not at all sensitive to my own. to the point where it created cancer in my body, I believe. Until I said enough is enough. When I got cancer in 2010, that was my first wake-up call. Enough is enough. What I feel matters. My life matters. And then the second big wake-up call was in 2016 when I had my daughter. And I couldn't just keep giving from an empty cup, because now it was not just taking from me, it was taking from her. So now I realize that I have to give to myself, because when I give to myself, I have more to give to my daughter. I have more to give as a teacher. I have more to give in a relationship. The way people can get manipulated the most is when you give all your power away, by not giving to yourself. Then a relationship leaves you and you think you have nothing left, because you don't, because you've given all your power away. So don't do that. Take the energy back. And if you have done that, have forgiveness for yourself. You learned that somewhere along the way. You learned that because you thought that you weren't good enough. So you had to accept that abuse, but you don't. And the good thing is, and the beautiful part about it is that now you're open to something good happening because you have awareness of it. The majority of transformation is awareness. So now you can stop the cycle. Now I don't want to pass that on to my daughter. I have to check in with myself, because a part of me wants to overcompensate there because I'm so fearful of, I don't want to give her that abandonment stuff. What? So sometimes I overcompensate, so I have to check in there. Am I doing this because I want to try to please my daughter and make her feel like she's not abandoned, or am I doing this because I think it's the highest and best for me and for her? That's where I need to operate from, because that's how I can be of service. So I invite you to do the same. And you can heal. You can make it through anything. You're here now. So even if your abuse was just absolutely mind-blowing traumatic, you can make it through this. You're here right now. You have awareness of it. You can heal. There is so much hope for you. You can change the cycle right now. And meditation helps a lot to separate out everybody else's stuff and to come into your own frame. So that's what we're going to do today, to really heal from those toxic relationships, those toxic abusive situations, so that you may open yourself up and not deprive yourself of your gifts and talents, of your love, of your mission on this planet. You can shift it today. Let's meditate. Take a moment to find a place where you will not be disturbed for at least 10 minutes. Notice where your breath is falling in your body. If it's falling short somewhere in your chest, breathe in some safety and forgiveness and allow yourself to breathe a little deeper. Watch your thoughts here and feelings that might come up. And like the most nurturing
soul you could imagine. Bring in some forgiveness here for yourself, for ever taking on any kind of mistreatment as yours. If there was ever a time you have felt the pain of discovering who somebody really is, and it is not the highest and best version of themselves, and this has caused you pain because you trusted and opened yourself up, and this person only took advantage of you. If this has happened to you, breathe in and out from a place of forgiveness for yourself right now. See if you can notice the beginning of when you learned accepting mistreatment of any kind was okay. Travel back into the past to that 3, 4, 5-year-old version of yourself, and wrap yourself in a huge blanket of love. And tell them it's okay. You did nothing wrong. And now I'd like you to trace, like a movie, your life from 3, 4, 5 years old all the way up to now. Forgiving, loving, and comforting yourself along the way at pivotal moments that come up in your heart. Watch everything and bring in loving kindness, forgiveness for yourself. Breathe in and out, healing all of the past now. Feeling yourself in this moment, feeling the support underneath you, knowing that you are safe and any and all abuse stops today. Breathe. Breathe in and out now, washing away any feelings of pain that have been caused by mistreatment or you trusting somebody who never deserved your heart and your trust. No one can ever take the most important thing away from you, which is you. Be kind to yourself. You matter. Bringing in the mantra now, I forgive myself. I did nothing wrong. I breathe in all that I am now. I am love.